My name is Dr. Mohamed Sisse. I'm the Fisheries Management Expert at the African Union Inter-African Bureau for Animal Resources, in short AU-IBA. IBA has the mandate for utilization and coordination of animal resources on the continent. Animal resources including fisheries, aquaculture, livestock and wildlife. Now, with reference to your questions on the impact of climate change, please allow me to give a little bit of background on how we arrived at this stage. The African Union has a blue economic strategy, which is African Blue Economic Strategy, and this strategy has thematic areas, and one of the thematic areas is on climate change and environmental sustainability. And that is why we collaborated with the government of Sweden to develop this project on conserving aquatic biodiversity. There are a lot of environmental issues that are threatening the sustainability of aquatic biodiversity, including fisheries, plants, marine mammals, and a whole host of living organisms. So climate change is one of the causative factor in threatening the biodiversity. And this is brought about partly by the actions of human beings. Because climate change, the impact can be minimized, for example, if you have a lot of plants, aquatic plants, that can capture the emissions. You understand? What we call carbon sink. So that the impact can be less serious if you have a lot of afforestation or minimal deforestation. But how do we do that? We need to implement strategies. You are talking about strategies in order to encourage African Union member states, including nature-based solutions, to plant trees. Because when you plant trees, you understand, you minimize the effect of climate change on the wildlife, the aquatic living resources. So those are one of the areas we will do in this project. So first of all, we will encourage the African countries through the regional economic communities to develop a mitigation strategy for climate change at regional level. And at regional level, we work through the regional economic communities, and this will be cascaded, the regional strategies, for reasons of harmonization and coherence. The AU member states, now can develop their national strategy based on these regional strategies. So climate change is one of the areas we are going to really try to address in this project, so we can have climate resilient fisheries and aquaculture development on the continent, for example, because it's part of the environmental issues that we are going to address in order to conserve the aquatic biodiversity.
Now, in one of your responses, you spoke about fishermen having to go deep into the ocean or the sea to be able to do their fishing. Now, meaning that already the impacts of climate change are visible, they are happening. Now, even if we do the mitigation that you've just spoken about, are we not late in the day?
The fish species, some of them have a particular temperature which they can accommodate in order to survive. They can, we have climate, temperature resilient species, beyond which they cannot live in a particular environment. If the temperature is very high due to climate change effect, if the temperature is very high, for example, in the inshore area, and the particular species inhabiting that area, that is their own ecological niche. You understand? One way of redressing that problem is for them to move to colder areas in the high sea. Because when you move to the high sea, the temperature there might be lower. You understand? Now, most of the fishing craft in AU member states, including even Lake Victoria, you have people man-made. They use paddle. You understand? Of course, some of them have motorization, but not as much. So for them, they are not able to compete with mechanized vessels in the high sea, because when the species move, they also move with them. But in the process, there is a confrontation between them and the mechanized vessels. You understand? So they are using a lot of fuel to chase the fish species that are migrated, avoiding the increase in temperature in the inshore area. Yeah. So climate change also, you have heard about coral reefs. You have heard about coral reefs. These are the area also.
I just wanted to cut you short and still.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now that the fishermen cannot get to where these fishes are, and we are talking about exploiting the blue economy, do you still see Africa actually getting, getting the benefits of the blue economy, considering that we don't have the wherewithal to exploit even the few resources that we have access to?
No, no, we have. Okay, first of all, Africa is fortunate to be endowed with a lot of aquatic ecosystem, both in the marine. You understand? Now, it depends on the level of awareness. Like what I'm telling you now, if we create enough awareness, the impact of climate change, yes, and mitigation measures are put in place, it will redress. You understand? But also to support the fishing communities, we are talking about the people at the low level of economic development, to use appropriate fishing gear. Fishing gear, you understand, in order to be able to exploit the economic potential in the high sea. You understand? So we still have the economic opportunity, but the fishermen in the inshore area, the small scale fisheries, for example, need to be supported to be able to participate. In some countries, in some projects, they have supported in terms of giving them motorized outboard engines. You understand? In terms of giving them adaptable fishing craft so that they can expand their range of fishing. So there are opportunities to enhance the capacity, participate of these fishermen to participate effectively in the blue economy, including women and youth.
Now, my last question is this. You spoke about the cage fish farming,
Yeah.
especially the one on Lake Victoria.
Mm.
How sustainable is this, considering that some of the fish farmers are actually using synthetic feeds for the fish,
Yeah.
and they are actually, in a way, it's like a scramble of the lake. It's a natural lake, but they are doing exotic fish farming.
Okay.
What would be your advice, or how exactly can we ensure that?
First of all, there has to be zonation, because in blue economy, as I was saying, it's not only the cage fish farmers that have the resources of let's say Lake Victoria or anywhere in the seas. You understand? There has to be demarcation. This area has to be reserved for cage farming, zonation, and so that the people who are using transport system cannot territorial conflict. To me, that's why we say marine spatial planning, to minimize territorial conflict. So the government, what this project is doing, to encourage government to develop the necessary guidelines or mechanism of regulation, so that the sustainable practice of cage farming will take place in these ecosystems. And you take into consideration the kind of feed you use in terms of density, you understand? So that you minimize the impact of the feed that is not eaten percolating into the entire ecosystem. But it depends on the regulation that guiding cage fish farming in the country. And I think the government of Kenya is already doing that. I'm aware. They are working on regulations. We supported the government of Kenya, AU IBA, to review the regulation for aquaculture practices. It's yet to be finalized. We are being in consultation with the ministry in charge of fisheries and blue economy in Kenya. I mean, there is a whole section on cage fish farming, how to regulate it. So this, and we will replicate it across the continent.
So we are not yet, it's not dire as yet. We are still okay.
Yeah, we are still, there is a lot of room for development in order for African to in order for Accra to benefit from the economic resources. But we need to put in place regulatory mechanism, you understand, so that the investment which they will do, for example, investment in tourism, investment in cage fish farming we are talking about, you understand, investment in other blue economic related activities, you understand, they have to be done within the principle of sustainability, so that the investment can be their economic benefit, but also we have to take into consideration the impact of the environment and the aquatic biodiversity. And this is what this project is doing, and this is why the Swedish government, we are very much grateful and appreciate the African Union to receive support from the Swedish government to implement this project.